Hello everyone and welcome back to Emkin Gardening. Today we're going to be planting garlic. So the middle to end of October is the perfect time to plant garlic. Garlic is, it's a bulb, so you can treat it like your other bulbs that need those wintering over chill hours in order to grow and perform. So the bulbs that we plant today will have all winter, and they'll probably start peaking up in the early spring, but you won't be able to harvest them until around the beginning of July. So that's going to take that whole time in the ground for them to grow. So we're excited. Garlic, we love garlic. We cook with garlic all the time. So let's dive into a little bit more about the garlic we have. So there are two types of garlic. You have hardneck garlic and softneck garlic. We will go into a little bit of details on both. We are going to be planting a hardneck garlic today. And as you can see, this neck of the garlic is hard. It does not move. If it was a soft neck garlic, the whole top would be kind of more flimsy and would move. So that's how you can tell the difference between a hard neck garlic and a soft neck garlic. So we're going to be doing hard neck garlic. Some details about the hard neck is they are typically stronger in flavor, more pungent than the soft neck varieties. They also don't keep as long as soft neck varieties do because you can braid soft neck garlics to store them, so they keep a lot longer than the hard necks, which is totally fine. Again, there's only two of us, it's just Ryan and I, so we don't need an abundance of garlic to store for a really long time. We will eat what we grow and it'll be fine. So they're typically stronger. They don't last quite as long as the soft necks that you can braid and store. The soft necks also have a more mild flavor typically. The structure of the garlics are also different. So with hard neck varieties, they're typically more circular. Soft necks usually can be a little bit oblong in shape. Also with the hard necks, their stem typically goes straight into the base of the garlic, and it's usually one line of garlic cloves all the way around that are typically bigger. So it's just like one layer in the hard necks, whereas in the soft necks, there are multiple layers coming out from the base of the garlic. Some of the garlic cloves can be a little bit smaller, some can be big, but there is a layered effect going outwards, whereas typically with the hard neck, it's just one ring around the middle, and they're usually a pretty good size. So when planting garlic, you really need to think about amending your soil because they really need a lot to eat. They eat a lot. So when we are going to be amending our soil, we're going to be mixing in fresh soil and a lot of biotone. In the early spring, we're going to hit it with more garden tone, and then maybe another round, kind of that middle time before July, between like early April and July, we might hit them again. They are heavy feeders. They want to eat all the nutrients. And that goes with any type of allium, shallots, onions, any type of allium. They're really heavy feeders, so they want a lot of nutrients. When we plant, we're going to be amending our soil. So when looking at the space, you can see we have not pulled our zucchini or our yellow squash yet. We still have zucchini growing, so we're going to keep it until there is no possible way that any more zucchini is going to grow. But it also helps us kind of pinpoint what space we have. We don't have a designated garlic bed, so we're sharing it with the other veggies that we have in our raised bed. So we're going to leave these plants as kind of markers for us. We know that we're going to have another zucchini here-ish. So we're going to have zucchini next year, yellow squash next year. So this area right here is going to kind of be taken up with zucchini. Because remember, these are not going to be able to get harvested until July, the beginning of July. at that point, we would have already had to plant our zucchinis in here, or our squash plants in here. So we need to accommodate and think about that space that we're going to need to save. So we're going to keep the sweet potatoes in here to see if anything, if they can get just a little bit bigger. And we're going to plant the garlic around it. So let's show you how we're going to split these up. So when you're thinking about opening up your garlic to plant, consider each clove like a seed. So when you break it open, try to be as gentle as possible to keep as much of the paper as you can on the clove. That is going to protect the clove from any of the moisture going into it while it's growing. So we're going to try to keep as much of the paper on it as possible. This is nice and big. It's going to be wonderful. When we plant it, you're going to plant the pointy side up, and then the roots are all going to come out of the bottom right here. So that's going to go down, and we're going to plant the pointy side up. When we do plant it, once the soil's all amended, we're going to be planting them about 2 inches deep in the ground. This one clove of garlic is going to turn into a full bulb of garlic cloves. So this one is going to turn into this when we harvest it at the beginning of July. So we have a lot of cloves in here in this hardneck garlic. So I'm interested to see how many of these little cloves we have, which means how many big bulbs of garlic we're going to have by the end of the growing season. So let's be very gentle when we're opening these up, trying to keep as many of the cloves as possible intact with as much paper on them as possible. And let's see how many we get. If you're having a hard time feeling comfortable just kind of like breaking into it a little bit, you can take a butter knife to help kind of pull apart the garlic clove from the bulb to open it up. That'll also save a lot of the paper that's going to be around it. So if it's not really breaking apart as easily as you want it to, just use that butter knife to slide on in there and kind of knock it out. All right, let's see how many we got. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 cloves out of that one bulb, 18 heads of garlic. Now, again, we haven't even opened up this second one, and it's just Ryan and I. So we don't necessarily need, if we're assuming it's gonna be the same, like all of that garlic. So we are actually going to only keep these really big ones, the bigger ones, to do our planting. And we will take these smaller ones back inside and cook with them over the next couple weeks. You can, if you had the space and you were like really into planting garlic, you could plant these little ones and they would turn into a full bulb of garlic. So you can plant these. We just don't need that much. So we're going to keep these big ones. We're going to plant these big ones and see how many really big bulbs of garlic we're going to get. Try to perpetuate big cloves in our next crop. So let's break open the second one and see how many big ones we can save from this one. So out of the 40 cloves of garlic that we kind of broke apart, we are keeping 14 big ones to plant. Again, we could plant all of those and have an insane amount of bulbs of garlic, but we don't need that. So we're going to plant the 14 that we have to keep. We did not say the variety at the beginning of the video, and I'm not sure if we know the variety of this. It's going to be a mystery. So we'll test it out, and they are the same ones though, that's for sure. So we'll grow them. Obviously we're going to cook with those, so we'll know what they're going to taste like, which will be great. And then we can discover if we want to try out a new variety next year, or maybe do one hard neck and one soft neck next year. So we'll test it out. So when we're planting, we have not amended anything yet. We're going to plant them 2 inches down. We want the soil to be nice and lofty, so we're going to kind of loft it up, add all the amendments, 2 inches down in the ground. Just down in the ground, and we're going to space them about 4 inches apart. We're going to try to do the back line here, and then probably the in front a little bit over here for the rest of them if we run out of space. So we're going to try to give the squash plants the front, because they did like trail down this year, and hopefully by July when we do harvest the garlic, that is more when the heat comes out, so the squash plants will really pick up their growth and start going when we harvest the garlic. So we're going to amend the soil, space them all out so you can see the 4 inches apart, and then plant them up. Here we go. So we're really excited. You got to see that we did 4 inches apart spacing. We did a little bit more actually, just to give this space. I'm really hoping for a nice big bulb. We left room for the zucchini that we know we're gonna plant. We gave a little bit of space for the sweet potatoes. We'll see if anything happens. We put a ton of biotone, really amended the soil, put biotone on top just in case. We hand watered it in for today. We are expecting a little bit of rain, but then pretty soon, really soon, the weather's gonna freeze anyway. Winter's gonna come, so they're gonna be nice and happy. I don't expect growth. They might, if we have like some warmer days, we might see a little bit of growth, like a little bit of green growth. If not, that's totally fine. If we do, that's also totally fine. They'll just hang out with snow on top when it does snow, and then in the spring just pick up growing right where they left off. And then obviously we'll be watering in the spring as well with more garden tone in the spring, and then hit them again hopefully in that like May, June area. So super easy, really easy to plant garlic, really exciting and very rewarding, because that one clove gives you a whole bulb of garlic. You do have to wait a while, but it kind of does the work for you, because you know it's winter time and nothing else is really happening in the garden growth wise. So knowing that these are doing their thing and bulking up, very, very exciting. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up, comment down below if you have any questions or just want to say hi. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of really fun fall things coming up concerning bulbs. So we hope you stick around to watch the future videos. We're hoping you're having a great weekend, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.